We continue with our sugya in Ben Adam Lechaveiroi in the sugya of hating one another. Okay? Somebody asked me yesterday, what happens if there is a person that he really doesn't like? He wants to be moichel him. What is he meant to do? So first of all, as I explained to him and to other people as well, that mechila is real. Mechila is real. You can't be moichel someone just because I don't want to hate him, so therefore I'm just going to be moichel him. Mechila has to be a real mechila. If somebody really hurt you, or somebody really did something, to be moichel means you have to bring from within you the inner peace that you have for somebody else, and it takes time. And sometimes you have to work on it. It might not be this afternoon, maybe it'll be tomorrow or the next day, but there should be a system that you're working on because you realize that this is very serious. As we said yesterday, when we started the halacha, that one of the main reasons Chazal tell us in the Gemara in Yuma, why the Beis HaMikdash was and is still destroyed, is because of sinas chinam. Sinas chinam, yesterday we explained to be baseless hatred for no reason. Now, many people have good reason to hate people. Right? Meaning what they think is a good reason, obviously, right? The Torah is not really a good reason. But there are many people who literally, they hate this person because he did X, Y, and Z. And that's why I hate him. So it's not sinas chinam. Yeah? Now, that might be true that it's not sinas chinam, but it's still called hatred, and you're not allowed to hate somebody else. And as we mentioned and pointed out very clearly yesterday, that the idea that the Torah is telling us is bilvavecha, in your heart, even if no one knows, only you. But Hashem knows. And Hashem always knows what this is, okay? So what we want to do today is go through some of the actual halachas. Let's talk about practical halachas of hating someone, how we can try to avoid it, and let's just go through some of the definitions and halachas that are included in hating somebody else, which is very, very important, okay? So, the Rambam brings it down. It's a Kesef Mishnah who wants to say pshat in the Rambam that the Issa is if you hate someone in your heart, but if you actually express the hatred that you have to him, that is actually much worse than hating him in your heart. Hating in your heart is one thing, that's the pasuk in the Torah, but the Kesef Mishnah says in Be'etzim it's a She'iltis and Parshas Vayeshev that if you express that hatred through means of words or chas v'sholom lashon hara and other things, then you're obviously over on much worse issa in that case over there. Now, there are poskim that hold that a person is only over on the issa of leisisna if he harbors this hatred in his heart, but outwardly he's okay with the guy. Okay, you with me? That means inwardly he hates the guy, outwardly I'm his best friend. That, say many poskim, is the issue of hating someone in your heart. What happens, according to some poskim, if you would actually, one second, get this clear. What happens if you would actually tell the guy that I actually hate you in that case? So according to the Rambam, the Mogen Avram and others, they hold you're not over in the issa of the sisna achicha bilvavecha because it's not in your heart, because you're openly telling him that you hate him and you dislike him. So therefore, you're not going to be openly over on this issa. You might be over on other issurim, but you're not going to be over on this case over there. Now, hate is a very, very general word. That is true. We're going to have to define it. So let's understand it, okay? So, very good. Yitz is asking, can you give me, this is basically what we're asking, give me an example, Nochi. What does it mean you hate someone? Give me an example of something you do that expresses that hate that is in your heart. Okay? That is not true. There are people, Asha only hates Amalek, that's beautiful. But there are people, but Asha, there are people, first of all, if you want to kill Amalek, you have to know the Seder HaDvarim. You have to know how to kill them, what bracha to make. It's not simple. We have to have a shir. That's a real thing. Okay, killing Amalek, the Shem Yichud, Mikvah, Gartel, so you don't just kill. It's a mitzvah, you have to do it in the right way. Agaboni Rabbi Sai. Zev, are you with us? So, Lemaisa like this. What is an example, asks Rabbi Yitz, of someone that hates someone in his heart? What would he do to demonstrate that? So I want to give you a couple of examples, okay? The Maldiskin brings this example and he says, if a person doesn't greet someone, he doesn't like the guy, so every time he sees him, he ignores him, that's called hating him in your heart, right? That's called hating him in your heart. When you don't greet someone badafka because you don't like them, that is considered to be that you're hating them. Now, Now, this is also a very important definition that we have to get clear. Does sinner, hatred, mean real sinner? Or can it mean, I just don't like the guy? That's the shaila. There is obviously a difference. Let me. Gewaldig. So before we get to everyone else's opinions, I'm happy to hear everyone's opinions. Let's first go to the poskim and see what they define as the definition of hating someone. Okay? We'll go like this, okay? This is actually based on Orach Chaim HaKadosh. The Orach Chaim HaKadosh. So he brings it like this, that the issa of sinner, the issa of hatred, is not only when a person hates someone so much that he wants the worst for him and he wants him to, not succeed and he wants to watch his downfall. That's terrible. That's a real high level of dislike. That's a real high level of hatred when I want to see this guy in the worst possible place. I want him to lose his whole business and chas v'shalom. That's like a really low level. Say the poskim that, of course, that's terrible. That, of course, fits into this halacha. But even if a person does not have that level of dislike, but he just doesn't like him, he dislikes him, okay? And as a result of that, he sort of distances himself from him in that case, right? So listen, instead of the Torah saying, "Leisisna bilvavecha es achicha," the Torah says, and the Orach Chaim HaKadosh points this out, "Leisisna es achicha bilvavecha." The achicha is next to the words "leisisna," showing us that even the sense of any dislike, causing you only to distance yourself from there, diminishing the feeling that he is your brother, you are over on the love of leisisna achicha bilvavecha. You hear this? This is the Orach Chaim HaKadosh. It doesn't mean only if a person hates the guy and wants him to mamish fall and be not successful. But even if a person just doesn't like him so much, you distance yourself from him. That, says the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, is included in the lav d'oraisa of leisisna achicha bilvavecha. What happens if a person, for example, has a complaint against someone? Someone did something to him, whatever it was. He did something I don't like. So I don't want to mention it to him. I don't want to, by the way, it's not healthy. Just aga, by the way. Whenever someone bothers you, or whenever someone does something that you don't like, or causes you harm, or pain, or whatever, so the natural human being reaction is to sort of close up. It's to sort of like brush it under the carpet and pretend it didn't happen and just hope it will go away. That doesn't work. The real way to do it is to communicate. Okay? 100% on maturity, 100%. The real way is to communicate. By the way, there is no greater example than your own wife. Right? If your wife says something or does something that, bothers you, so you have two options. You can bottle it up, which will mean eventually it will pop and explode, or you can deal with it and you can communicate. Okay, so this is like a side point right now. When someone does something to you, if you do brush it under the carpet and you don't mention it to him and you don't explain to him what bothers you, then what's going to happen is you are probably going to get to this issa. Because he's going to do something else, or it's going to get worse and worse within you, and eventually you're going to hate the guy. Now, all you could have done is gone over to him and says, "Mr. George, I'm really sorry, but yesterday you came into the room and you were speaking on your phone. I was just trying to fall asleep, and as I was trying to fall asleep, you came in with your phone. And I couldn't fall asleep for 3 hours. It bothered me. The next morning I couldn't get up the shachwas. It killed my whole day." So instead of you being upset with the guy, and it building until eventually one day, boom, it explodes, you could go up to him and say, "Mr. George, I'm really sorry, but what you did was not to say that. It really hurt me. It was really upsetting to me." Or maybe he said a comment to you that was just below the belt. And everyone was laughing, and you also laughed because you want to be one of the guys, right? But the mice really hurt you. So you go over to the guy later, you put your arm around him and you say, "My dear friend, Mr. George, I love you dearly. You're the greatest guy in the world. I can see you're doing so well. You're trying. It's amazing. Just one little thing. What you said yesterday in front of the guys, it really hurt me. If you don't mind, please don't do it." By the way, if you do that, the guy will take it from you. Because the klal is that when you walk over to someone and you're attacking them or they feel attacked, they're going to respond with another attack. That's, by the way, great communication skills and great ben odin mechaber skills as well. If you want to go over to someone, "I can't believe you did that last night. What's his result?" "Oh, you're right. I'm so sorry." No, that's not going to be his answer. "Because the night before you did." You know what I'm saying? That's how it's going to work. Because if a person feels attacked, then he has to attack back. But if you go over to him and he doesn't feel attacked, he Pashut feels that, I didn't realize it hurt you, I didn't realize it upset you, I didn't realize saying that would actually upset you, I didn't realize you were sleeping, I didn't realize, whatever it is, it changes the whole situation. We have to learn to live with other people. Because, as I said, not only because we're in yeshiva and that's the situation, but in life in general, we're living with people. Whether it's own family members, whether we're working with people during the day, whatever we're doing in our lives, it's going to be with other people. You're not a hermit. You're not living by yourself. It's so important to get these skills. These are skills, Rabbi Sai, for your life. Your wives, by the way, are all going to thank me. They're going to call me and say, whoa, I don't know what you did, but Baruch Hashem, you did it. You know what I mean? Can you imagine? I'm serious. You guys think I'm giving Ben Adam L'Chaveh. I'm giving Shalom Bayis over here. Okay, I'm giving Shalom Bayis over here. Okay? This is what it is. We're giving Shalom Bayis for the future generation. It's kavaldik. This is what it is. You'll have successful communication, successful relationships, successful marriages, successful everything. Learn communication. Okay? Rabbi Sai, if something bothers you, talk about it. But learn the tone of voice. Learn how to deal with it and how to say it. It's very, very important. How do I do this? Why am I saying this, by the way? There's a reason I came onto this. Is because if something bothers you or someone bothers you, so there are two ways of action, obviously as we mentioned right now, but not complaining to him, by the way, does not mean you're over on the Issav Le'Sisna. You just don't hate the guy, you don't not like him, you just happen not to tell him the complaint that you have against him. But you have nothing against him whatsoever. And therefore that is okay. That is okay. That it will be okay. Now, Rabbi, so let's move on, okay? The Gemara has the following shaila. Gemara B'Sochim Kufir Gimel on the base. Are you allowed to hate someone that did Navira? Interesting shaila. Are you allowed to hate someone that did Navira? So the Gemara actually says yes. Now the question is why? What does that mean? We all, again, not we all, Chas v'Shalom, not you guys, but many people in the world do Averas. So if only people are doing the Averas, what's going to be? Then you're going to do Averas yourself. That's beautiful. What's it going to do with hating?
You don't have to tell him I hate you for that.
You mean you can think it in your heart?
Yeah, you should probably go, that guy did something wrong.
Okay. So, very nice. Very, very nice. So the Megillah Seif on the Smug learns Pshat that what you're doing is you're basically trying to rebuke him. You're trying to give him Teichacha in order that he does tshuva. If that's the purpose, then you are okay. Okay?
This guy's been doing this for 10 years and that's not helping him.
So, BA saying a very good yesod, and there are poskim that say such a thing also. If the reason why you're starting to hate him or dislike him is not him, because you want to distance yourself from him so that you don't fall into the same trap, and you're worried that if you don't do that, you may attach yourself and fall as well, then in a chanami, then you're also allowed to do that. So if someone is, I'm not talking about, by the way, a guy by mistake spoke Lashon Hara, by mistake, looks something he shouldn't have done. I'm talking about a guy who's a Baal Aveira, a real habitual, he's a Rasha, he's a Baal Aveira. Such a guy, you can hate such a guy, that's for sure. We're not talking about a guy who just stumbled on an Aveira, such a guy, you have to hate him, Chas v'Shalom, he's a regular Gavaldic Yid, and the Rebbeinu Shem loves him, who gives you the right to hate him? Avadi, you don't hate such a guy. We're talking about hating a guy that's a Rasha, that's a guy that doesn't care, he doesn't lahaches, doesn't bother him. And Dafka you should. We either to rebuke him, he'll do tshuva, hopefully. Sees everyone doesn't like him, he'll see he's on the wrong track. Or like B.A. said, he'll do it for the purpose of not attaching himself to him. But you have to be very careful, by the way. The Rambam says to hate someone else means you have to warn him first. And tell him, by the way, you know what you're doing up here is you're doing terrible things. People are going to hate you, I'm going to hate you, whatever it is. The Rambam says, you have to be careful. And the chinuch also brings down in mitzvah reish lamed ches, it's only after giving him a lot of toicha musa and he doesn't listen, then you can hate him. So it sounds like it basically is not very negaya to hate someone who did averis, even if he's a Rasha, unless you did all the conditions of warning him, explaining to him, rebuking him, and everything else. Now, nowadays, Lamaisa, the Heiliger Poskim bring down that we don't know how to give Musa. We don't really know how to give Musa, and therefore we don't know how to give Musa. We absolutely cannot hate him in any way, shape, or form, because we don't know how to give him Musa. And if you don't give him Musa, you can't really hate him, because you didn't give him Musa first. Therefore, what is the only Eitzah? The only Eitzah which is be'etzim brought down in the Gemara in Brachas, and that is to daven for him. Daven that he does tshuva, daven that he does, like the Gemara talks about Rabbi Yochanan, right, that he wanted his neighbor who was doing bad things to die. He's doing bad things, he should die. What did his wife say? Oh, Hashem, the wife came along and saved him. And the wife said, don't daven that he should die. Daven that he does tshuva. Beautiful. So if you see someone doing something wrong, instead of hating him, instead of getting upset with him, daven. You see a roommate that needs help, you see someone that needs help in yeshiva, he's going through a bad patch, whatever it may be, instead of hating him, instead of judging him, instead of doing all the things that we're speaking about not to do, daven for him. Take a Shemona Esrei and Mincha and daven that Ribono Shel Olam, this guy's going through a hard patch. Could you give him siyata d'shmaya? Could you help him out? Give him avas haTorah. Give him strength to fight his nisonos, or whatever it may be. Think about somebody else, and I'm hoping that these shiurim over here are helping a person to think about somebody else, obviously in a good way, but think about someone else. You know, the famous Maisa, we'll end with this by saying, they asked Reb Nosson Tzvi from the Meir, the Rashiva of Meir Yeshiva, one of the Gedolim, just nifta a few years ago, and they asked him on Rosh Hashanah, can you imagine, on Rosh Hashanah, they said, Rebbe, during the shofar, now the shofar is the highlight of Rosh Hashanah, it's basically one of the big mitzvahs hayom, it's one of the mitzvahs hayom on Rosh Hashanah, is to blow the shofar. People wait for it, anticipate for it, people do tshuva, it's amazing. And they asked the Rebbe of Nosson Tzvi, what should we think of during the shofar? What should our kavanas be? And they were imagining all sorts of Kabbalistic kavanas and interesting, details of tshuva and whatever. And you know what Nosson Tzvi said? Such a beautiful, simple yesod, but it's so choshev. He said, think about the guy sitting next to you. That's it. Can you imagine during shofar? Just think about the guy next to you. So often we fail to think about other people. We fail to think about ourselves as well, and about our Yiddishkeit and our relationship with Hashem. It's a whole different shmooze. But to think about other people. We have to learn and train ourselves to think about other people. Tomorrow, Be'ezus Hashem, we're going to be finishing off this halacha.